Hey everybody, I've got Michael Padurano, which I didn't say his last name right. I just call him Michael P today. And we've got his young ones in the background who are just super, super adorable and have been stuck in the house for 10 days now. And nice. So we're going to discuss today autoimmune diseases. And Michael is kind enough to share with us his issues with, I hate to say issues, I'll just say it, with type 2 diabetes, his thyroid. It's all being caused by Hashimoto's. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I just say the name that sounds like it's from Japan, but you just told me it is. So Michael, would you like to discuss this with us, please?
Sure. So if we go back to type 2 diabetes, I got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes back in 99 or 2000 when I was in the peak of my drinking and using drugs and everything else. And basically, I was planning to go away for a big drinking weekend and got a call from my doctor and said, go straight to the hospital. At that point, I think I was 19 or 20. And doctor, I said, why? My doctor's like, because your sugar is so high, you should be in a coma. And I said, is it really? And she said, yes. I said, well, what about drinking tonight? And she kind of said, that's not going to happen. And I said, okay, I guess I have to cancel my plans. So my sugar was over 550 at the time, which apparently is really high. My body withstands everything, so I never really notice. I don't get symptoms. I don't get any of that stuff. Yes. Yes, you did. Okay. Okay.
It's very cold outside. That's right.
Yeah. So, it's like, now she's kicking me in the back, but it's okay. This is single dad life, right? And being trapped in a house for 10 years.
How old? This is one.
Sid is 3.
Sid,
So
you're adorable.
She can't hear you with the head on. She can't hear anything. She's having fun. Let her. I can roll with anything. Like nothing really gets in my way.
I can too. You can sing too. She can sing too.
That was the beginning of type 2 diabetes. At that point, I lost a bunch of weight. I started exercising and came off all medication within a year. And then it basically went away for a while. It went into remission. And then when I was sober, it went away again because there was no more of that tremendous amount of sugar intake from alcohol. So I got sober in 2007. No, I'm sorry, 2006. Wow, I don't remember what year it was. And so when I got sober, at that point, my sugar was okay, my blood pressure was okay, my cholesterol was high. Who cares? And what else did I say? I got diagnosed with type 2 bipolar 2, I guess, at that time. And then within a year, I was off all medication again. My body has a healing itself when I allow it to. Then everything flared up again in like 2011-ish, 2012. My sugar got out of control because I wasn't eating right at all. I just had my first child. My second child was on the way. There was a lot of drama in my life, a lot of stress in my life. So I wasn't, just being healthy. And at that point, I've been off and on medication since for type 2 diabetes. It spiked in 2018 when all this journey started for me. And I was at max dosage of 3 different medications for type 2 diabetes. And at that time, I also did blood work, and I found out that I had Hashimoto's, a thyroid disease. Now, keep in mind, I was never tested for it previously, so I didn't know if I had it or not. I know that I've had the warning signs throughout my life, and I know that now I understand how it impacts me. It makes me more emotional. It will appear as a depression. It will slow my metabolism down and I will gain weight. It will increase life stresses. It will make me cloudy brained a little bit, which is for me like taking away everything because I rely on my brain for so much. I'm not an athlete. I'm not a skilled creative person. So for me, it's all about my mental capacity. So when the thyroid starts acting up or flaring up, or shutting down more, I should say, because Hashimoto's is hypothyroidism. So it means that your thyroid is slowing down because my immune system is attacking my own thyroid. Um, Recently, I just got more blood work done for it because I think that it's acting up again. Because I started getting more tired, I started having less energy, I started being a little bit more borderline depressed, a lot more emotional. Um, so I'm waiting for those results. They're probably stuck somewhere in the frozen mail somewhere. Um, but somewhere like my phone. My new phone's stuck between North Carolina and here. So you know, like Hashimoto's is interesting to deal with because there is no cure for it. I mean, there's ways that you can help it, seaweed, stuff like that, and it will naturally help it to sustain longer. But when your body starts attacking your thyroid, it can enlarge, turn cancerous. It can do many different things in your life, and it's something that you need to watch. Now, the last year that I've been stuck out here with no doctors, no monitoring, no any of that, who knows what's going on? So I do the blood work the best that I can. I have no insurance here, so I buy blood tests myself, and I send the tests in, and it's a whole process. But as all this is going on, with the Hashimoto's and type 2 diabetes at the same time, I've lost weight. I eat healthier. I'm off probably 60% of my type 2 diabetes meds. My sugar is much more under control than it's been since the very beginning. Um, it really comes down to how you take care of yourself. There's ways that you can help yourself, and there's ways that you can hurt yourself. And I think that's where those two really battle each other because I'm in a routine where I get up, I exercise, I pray, I meditate, I eat better, I eat healthier. But when my thyroid starts slowing down,
Sorry, the light is changed. It's kind of crazy.
but
Sorry, everybody.
when my thyroid's slowing down, it makes me more tired. I don't have the energy that I normally have.
Mhm.
Like I go from being able to sleep 5 hours a night, 6 hours a night consistently and being great and ready to go for the day to
Mhm.
sometimes I need 9 hours. Right? Single father of three, that's not easy to do. So it
Mhm.
requires lots of naps when they're in school, which then takes away from productivity. Um, but it's very challenging to handle it all at the same time, right? And being away from home and not having your doctors and not doing the blood work and not,
Mhm.
being able to monitor it properly makes it even more difficult at times. So I've been really paying attention to how my body's been interacting with things. I've been
Mhm.
putting weight on after losing up almost 45 pounds. I've probably put weight back on now.
Mhm.
I'm also hungrier. My appetite's grown. Borderline depressed. So I think I'm having another thyroid incident.
Mhm.
Um, which is why I did the blood work for myself. But I think like anything else that you got to live with, and there's so many things that we all live with on a daily basis.
Mhm.
Uh, it's an ailment, whether it's a disease, whether it's a mental uh, illness, I guess we could call it. I feel like we all have our struggles,
Yep.
and all we can do is be our
Mhm.
best self for that day, right?
Right. Right.
We, we can just be the best that we can, and it's
Mhm.
a journey, all of us.
Right. Michael, do you feel like, well, because you've brought up stress and everything. Sorry, the light keeps changing in Colorado right now. So the question I have for you, though, I know how busy you are. I know you like to work 24/7. Do you feel like this has affected your autoimmune diseases and any of them in any specific one? Or I know you're always having to watch your blood levels for your sugar and everything, but do you feel like that's attacking your system as a whole?
I think so, right? I slow down with the working a lot, right? Like I take breaks now throughout the day. I
Mm-hmm.
shut my phone off hours on end
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, which I've never done in my life up until recent
Right.
times.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I feel like the constant go 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 mentality
Mm-hmm.
definitely hurt in a lot of ways. It led to me eating fast food a lot more frequently, eating quicker food to prepare a lot more frequently, which
Mm-hmm.
increases the sodium that you put into your body, and
Yep.
sodium destroys you. Um, Fast food, obviously, what fast food does, we all know.
Mhm.
And I feel like, yeah, like it takes away from quality rest. It takes away from really having downtime. So
Mhm.
as I've been through this life transformation and spiritually, emotionally, physically,
Right.
mentally, every way possible, I've started giving myself space to slow down, and I've started giving myself
Mhm.
permission to slow down and stop really fighting for everything. Because one of the things that,
Mhm.
a friend of mine, well, I mean, okay, lots of good friends of mine have told me
Mhm.
is, is if I stop fighting it, it's going to start falling into place. And
Mhm.
in a lot of ways, it really has, right? Like
Mhm.
it's taken the off of me in a
Sorry,
lot of ways. You're
son.
good. Um, again, so there's not much you can do to shock me. Um, you know,
Mhm.
it's like it's. I do feel like the go 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 really crushes people in a lot of ways, right? It
Mhm.
impacts you with rest, it impacts you with everything else, and then it takes away from your sleep if you're always worried about, how you're doing at
Mhm.
that moment, your next thing to do.
Right.
Like, yeah, I mean, it definitely feeds into that. 100% does.
Yes. I was going to ask you about sleep because sleep seems to be a big thing with all these autoimmune diseases. It is with mine. Absolutely. And this, I'm hearing the exact same thing that you're hearing, that you just need to slow down. You need to breathe like 5 times, do the deep breathing 5 times an hour when you're up. You just need to do that because it's so easy for us to get so bogged down, like, oh my gosh, I have to do this next. Then I have to do that. Then I have to get to this appointment. Then I have to, and you're just like, are they going to be on time to pick me up? Are they not? Are they, it's very time consuming in your brain because your brain's going all the time, right? I know your brain's going all the time. You've told me. It's very hard to
Yeah,
slow down.
it never stops. But I've had to train it to stop, right? And
Mm-hmm.
meditation and breathing and
Mm-hmm.
you know, it helps. It helps tremendously. And starting my day out that way is a tremendous help, right? Like
Yeah.
journaling, getting stuff out of my head,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
meditating, or praying if that's what people do, right? Like
Yeah.
for me, it brings me to a slow down point to where I can focus, and
Mm-hmm.
it gets me in a position where I feel more free to be me.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot of the stress and the pressure off because I don't. Again, I'm just not fighting things as much as I used to, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
really believe that it ties hand in hand. I mean, I think when I'm go go go, I definitely think the flare ups, the emotional responses, stuff like that is more out of hand,
Yeah.
which really is a sign of the thyroid and not resting.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Right.
enormous. Like, our body needs rest,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah, we do.
and when I don't give my body the rest that it needs, I
Mm-hmm.
definitely notice a difference. Like there's a
Yeah.
substantial difference. I feel that day.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like you need to keep proving yourself, or is that why you're go, 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 or you just want to stay that way? Because I feel like what's happening right now, is my opinion on this, is that because of COVID or Corona or whatever you want to call it, everybody is kind of stuck at home for the most part. It depends on the state you're in. But I was used to always being such an outgoing person, going to all these events with hundreds of people, thousands of people, didn't even think twice about it. And now I'm like, well, why didn't I go to that one meeting or that one meeting? Because if I would have gone, that I would have seen those people one more time. So we have to get that out of our head, right? And it's hard
Um,
because I mean, it's great meeting all these people online. At the same time, though, it's nice to sit down with somebody too. I don't
I'll
have
let you know when
kids.
I'll let you know when I do it again. I mean,
Yeah.
it's I know that it makes a difference for me.
Mm-hmm.
Not be in person with people. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
times that it's for others.
Mm-hmm.
I miss being around my friends and people that I want to spend time with.
Right.
And moments that it really overcomes me and that I get that lonely feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But I've gotten better at getting over the lonely feeling, right? And
Yeah.
being grateful for where I'm at, what I have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think, I think we manufacture our own circumstance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we
Yep.
create it to whatever it is. When I first got out here and I was really depressed and, last March and stuck and, I made myself more depressed, right? Because I just was out of my mind and felt really bad about everything.
Mm-hmm.
blame, self-guilt, all these shames, everything that I went through. And as I've evolved and done the work and really focused on improving myself and growing through this period of time, now that it's probably getting closer to being over, I'm ready for it to be over. But I also, in some ways, I'm going to miss the isolation a little bit because I'm not the same person I used to be.
No.
I always had to be somewhere, right? Always.
Right.
I never
Yep.
wanted to sit,
Yep. That's
right?
true. Mm-hmm.
And now it's like I'm okay sitting still. I'm okay having time to me now. I'm okay, you know, not having plans.
Mm-hmm.
Like I used to make plans weeks in ahead so that every day I was busy. I
Yep.
had to be something. I don't feel that need anymore.
I know.
I want to be around who I want to be around, and if I don't want to be around it anymore, I don't need to be there, right? Like, I
Exactly.
mean, I force myself to go places, so I'd have to sit with myself.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like in COVID, in a lot of ways, has helped me grow and evolve into a different person
Yep.
and a
Mm-hmm.
healthier person in lots of ways. In some ways, it's really hurt me, and in some ways, it's really made life difficult for everyone.
Yeah.
But I'm very grateful for where I'm at. I'm grateful that I used this time wisely. Uh, and as much as I'm excited and looking forward to the next thing, I am going to kind of miss it, like the isolation part. I'm going to kind of miss the isolation.
Isn't it interesting? Because we're all, as much as we all think we're different, we're all going through the exact same thing right now. We're all stuck at home, or not all of us, but many of us have lost our jobs. We've lost friendships over this. We can't go and see our families. Like I can't go see my family, my parents, or my mom and my sister in Michigan. I'm not going to fly because the chances of me picking something up flying supposedly is like death to me, right? And so we have this fear of God that's been put into us. So now we're like, well, what's our next step? Right? I think we're all going through this together and people are just taking it and moving with it in different ways. I have people that live in Florida who, by God, they're not going to wear a mask. They don't care. They're going to fly. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. And I'm like, for me, I go, whoa, but I don't damn them for doing that. It's just that for some reason they haven't been beaten to a pulp, by their state or by, the government or whatever, their doctors. And I think it's great I don't think it's great that we're doing this all together, but I do, because we met this way, right? Everybody's met that I've met recently through LinkedIn or other social media platforms, and we're becoming friends. We don't even know each other. Like, we check on each other and we are taking care of each other. And I think it's great that you're going through everything you're going through when it comes to more the homeopathic side of everything, and the meditation and the breathing and just all of that. I think that's wonderful. So thank you for introducing me to some of your friends, and vice versa, I hope. So I really think this is a good thing for all of us, but that's just my opinion.
100%. I think in ways, this has I've actually been building deeper relationships with people virtually than I've ever built in person.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
I feel like I'm more vulnerable and I'm more genuine and I'm more authentic to who I truly am.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I think I'm also ready for it, right? So that's part of it too.
Yes, ready for what? I'm sorry.
Also just ready for that level of bonds with people. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's people I've known my whole life that if I really look at where I'm at today, I don't think I can sit down and have a conversation with them anymore because I'm not in the same place.
No.
Do I miss people? Yeah, but not the same. Like for me, friendship virtually, relationships virtually, any type of
Yeah.
virtually is real as it is in person, right? Like I don't see it, right? And I don't feel any different. I know what it is. I feel, I'm my real self. So I'm bringing myself to the table at all times, right? And I feel like sometimes that's easier to do in a virtual situation than it is in person. And maybe that's how you build deeper bonds.
Right.
And the reality is, this is the direction the world's going. I mean, the technology is not going
Yeah.
anywhere. People,
Yeah.
even when we're a quasi new normal, right? Which who knows
Yeah.
what, like, you're still going to be meeting people virtually. And
Right.
anybody who's not accepting that is going to be forced to at some point
Right.
and understand that, right? Like, there's a big self awareness there, and there's a big reality check there. The old ways and what we used to believe about ourselves
Right.
aren't proven to be true anymore.
Mm. I guess the reason I kind of went in this direction with you is because I was wondering if you think this isolation is making your illnesses worse, or are you kind of healing from them at all?
I mean, I think in some ways I'm healing from it because of how I've chosen to live during isolation.
Yeah.
Right? Like I've lost 35. I mean, I was up to almost 45,000. Now I'm probably closer to 35. But like I've lost, let's say 35, let's say 30 to 40, right? 30 to 40 pounds.
Just
My
do it. Yeah.
yeah, my eating habits are different. Everything's changed. My whole lifestyle is different now. So in ways it was healthier for me, right?
Yeah.
But also easier to fall into a depression. It's easier to fall into. It's easier to be misunderstood, right? Because through text and through other things, it's very easy to be misunderstood. It's very easy to be just fallen by the wayside. So I think we have to be careful about how we balance and how we truly look at it. Because in some ways, I think this is a blessing, and in some ways, it just is what it is. I don't think it's a negative anymore because I think we make it whatever it is. So being it it's because we make it negative, right? Like you're missing your doctors, you're missing, all different types of things, right? So it's a little bit different your circumstance. I mean, I'm so far away from my doctors, I couldn't go see them if I wanted.
Well, I can't go to California, and that's where I really need to go to see them, because here it's kind of a joke. Sorry, doctors, if you're listening. Like, some of them are, but a lot of them are. So there's ways that I've gotten worse, or not ways, but there's circumstances where I've gotten worse because of the lockdown, and the doctors don't understand what's going on with me. There's some that did understand, and I've been able to go back to them. But I lost some of my doctors in lockdown because they weren't allowed to see me or anybody else. And that was very, excuse my language, but damning, because I ended up, as you know, not being able to walk and having to go into a facility to learn to walk again for 17 days. I mean, that is just ridiculous that the insurance companies had to pay for that because one person in the state said, okay, well, I know it wasn't one, but everything's going to be shut down, right? So, yeah. So anyway, yes, my doctors, do I miss them in California? Absolutely. Do I want to go back to California right now? No. I don't, right? So you have to, and I have to deal mentally with that too. And in a way, I guess you're dealing with that too, because you're having to take care of yourself. You're like your own doctor right now, pretty much, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking advantage of what's in front of us, right? Like those at-home tests and stuff like that. Like I used to test my A1C through blood work. Now I just bought that test kit, so now I test it myself and I show my doctor the results. Like live when we're on telehealth visits. I needed to get my thyroid test, so I went online and I bought a thyroid test. It sent it to me. I took my own blood. I did all those things and back out.
Ew.
So like we're in a situation where we're being forced to do things differently, and I think at some point in the future it's going to be more like this going forward.
I think so.
Remote visits and remote blood work and more home tests and stuff is going to become more of a norm because the direction it's headed. It's insurance companies' money. It saves, there's ways to do things that will benefit companies, and there's ways to do things that benefit people. Your situation, not being able to go to California, not being able to sit in front of the doctor, not being able to get your blood work right, not being able to go to these people, then having to get stuck in a facility for 17 days is insane, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy, right? Like we're all dealing with different extremes, and we're all dealing with different circumstances. So we've got to really be patient with ourselves and have self-compassion and really dig into ourselves and find other ways to really work on healing ourselves.
Yeah. Don't you feel like, because you've seen a lot of doctors, but don't you feel like they're like, oh, go research that at home and let us know what you think? You're like, aren't we paying you to be the doctor? So I think what's happening is slowly we've been taught to start taking care of ourselves, but nobody wanted to do that. They did. But then the doctor would say, don't do so much research and don't tell me that I should do blah, blah, blah to you. You're like, well, you just told me to. So, I mean, it's one of those catch-22s, I think. But I almost feel like we were being taught to do this. We were being taught to kind of start taking care of ourselves. It's a little bit quiet.
Yeah, it got quiet.
Sometimes it's too quiet, right?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
she's playing on the floor, playing with her iPad. But it's, I think so, right? And I agree, right? Because when we start diagnosing ourselves, that's bad, right? Because then we go into crisis mode and we look at worst case scenarios and,
Right.
without work, without, proof and without tests, it's really hard to tell anything, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I have chest pains. I must be having a heart attack, right? And the
Yeah.
state L, so you have heartburn. It's
Right.
like things without being a doctor, without seeing results, without finding that with you're grasping at straws, and
Right.
we do a lot of that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's a natural instinct, I think.
But I was asking you those questions because I wanted to know from your autoimmune side how that's affecting you. And so you just kind of explain that to us, or you did. And but I like this conversation because I think that everybody's autoimmune issues are different, but they're somewhat the same. They're all kind of stemming from the same place. Like if your microbiome in your gut or in your brain isn't healthy right now, guess what? Yours isn't, mine's not, person next door isn't, it's kind of like we all have those commonalities. And when the doctors really start talking about that, they say, wow, you know what, you guys don't have the same thing, but you kind of do.
Well, and I think doctors are now being forced to look deeper, right? Because they can't see the patient in front of them. So now maybe they're even forced to look at deeper, more natural solutions, right?
Right.
And I think that we're missing this enormous opportunity at natural solutions. I think that for granted for a very long time. And I think maybe this is forcing that movement. Maybe this is pushing that forward. I think there's an benefit there as well.
Right. So, but I'm really glad we're having this conversation. I appreciate this because it won't just help me or just you, it will help other people too. Regardless if they have Lyme or the co-infections or what you have, the type 2 diabetes, I do hope, because I know people that do have type 2 diabetes and thyroidism and everything else. So I do hope that they will listen to this because I think it's important. I do think it's important. But it's quiet again. I'm all like, it's quiet again.
Yep.
You're like, yep. So anyway, everybody, I'm so glad that you guys sat here and listened to us today. I think it's very important. And I will have more people on, more, everyday people like we are, talking about different autoimmune diseases. And if you guys have any questions, please let me know. I still have Jenny's Gold Standard. I still have all my hemp clients and everything else. So if you guys have any questions on those products, let me know. If you guys can look at my Jenny's Gold Standard YouTube page, if you guys could like that. Jenny's JENNYS gold.com. That's my website. Just take a look at those things. LinkedIn, if you want to link in with me that way, that'd be great too. Hey, Michael, do you want to put some things out there?
Nah, they can just find me.
Mm.
Just go search the internet for Michael P. You have good.
Michael P.
There won't be. How many
Michael
can there be? No, I mean if
you can contact me if you want to talk to Michael P.
There you go. I mean if you look
How's
up
that?
Michael Padurano, you're not going to find many, so you'll be fine. But there is not many. So
there's a lot of Jenny Golds, I'll tell you that.
I'm sure.
Right. But But you guys, I really hope your snow starts to melt.
Me
I really
too.
hope that you don't get any more snow.
Me too. Well, it seems like it's going to start warming up and then raining by Sunday, so that should start washing it away, hopefully.
Yeah.
I
So
think
be
me
careful
too.
out there.
Need them to go
Right.
to school.
I'm glad it's not as cold as it was. Well, I don't know how cold it is there.
Oh, it was negative 16 with wind chill the other morning, and now
Oh,
it's
Lord.
I think now it's about 12 with wind chill or 15 with wind chill, so that's a win. That's a big difference. I'll take that difference any day. It's like summer now.
Yeah. Holy crap. Yeah. I just can't imagine. I have friends in Texas that are going to have to like go live in hotels, but they're not sure they're even going to have water there.
Right.
It's just,
Right.
it's crazy. But we're all learning something, aren't we, Michael?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are. So everybody, I want to thank you again for listening in on us today and on us.
Yeah.
And hope you guys have a great day and be well. Okay. Thank
All
you.
right.
I
Thank
love
you, Jen.
you. Bye.